Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. Kate here. It is Wednesday, yes, not Thursday. I have a crazy morning tomorrow. I want to make sure I have a lot of questions lately for Hoerner Happy Hour, so I wanted to make sure I popped on, and today is the best way I could do that. So a little early, but hopefully it gives you guys a chance who don't normally make the mornings to maybe hop on today. So as you guys are getting on, I'm going to talk about what the questions were. So again, I have been taking questions again for Hoerner Happy Hour. So if you guys have specific questions and you don't want to ask them in the group, always feel free to message me. I do have kind of a running list right now, working through them each week. So if you do have a question, the sooner the better, because the list is getting long. So this most recent question, it's a couple of different questions. It's someone who is abroad in a different country than the US, and she's been asking about power meters. She said she feels like her studio format is a little bit behind in terms of where she's located, and she's wondering if power meters are a thing of the future and if they become standard for spinning studios. She hasn't seen them yet, and she's wondering if she can get ahead and do that. So I actually would say the opposite. So power meters are great, especially if you're doing a spinning formatted ride, because you get to use your RPMs, your power, which is incredible, right? You can get a great workout that way, and you can train really well that way. You can also create a training program that's much more specific when you have a power meter. I actually, looking at the studios in the Boston area, which is where I am, there are a ton of studios around here. And I would actually say the majority of them do not use meters for a couple reasons. One, cost. Being a studio owner, I am very aware that the meters are more expensive to get. So a lot of the studios around here can't afford them. A lot of the clients I work with, helping them start their studios, they don't invest in those either. Another reason is the barrier to instructor training. So if you're teaching an instructor from scratch, or they have a basic certification and you're trying to train them as an owner or a manager, it is tricky to teach how to use a power meter and to make sure that the instructor is not totally lost in the meters and actually still teaching the class. That sounds a little strange, but I think you would know what I meant if you went to a class where the instructor was focused only on the power meter. So one is cost, two is training time, training effort. A lot more goes into it. And the third, and there's probably a whole lot more, but the other big one that I've seen for the reason why people don't have power meters, studios don't have power meters, is that they're beat-based. So once you learn, if you want to teach to the beat of the music, and you know how to use that to find your speed on the bike, you don't necessarily need it unless you are a performance-based ride. So most studios in my area are beat-based. They're all about, the entertainment factor, the fun factor. It's not so much about the numbers. So they get rid of the monitors, or they have them and they don't use them, which always baffles me. But I see a lot of that. Actually, the majority of places in this city either have them and don't use them, or don't even have them to begin with. Now, there are gyms where it's a little bit more of a traditional method. Maybe it's spinning, maybe it's something else, and they have power meters, and it's a little bit more focused on that. But often, honestly, I don't see them. So I would say it depends, to answer your question, which I know is annoying, but if you plan to teach the spinning method and to train performance-based rides, then you're probably going to want meters. I think it will make your ride better. It will make you better as an instructor. It will make your clients better. They'll be able to really focus and benchmark themselves week to week. If you are more focused on a beat-based ride, maybe you do choreography, maybe you don't. Maybe for you, it's about the inspirational factor, the motivational factor. It's the experience that they get in the room and how they feel leaving it. If that is more of your priority, then you don't really need them. So it's totally your call. It really depends on your brand and what your studio is like. I'm happy to chat with you through that if it's helpful. But I'd need a little bit more information to be able to give you like a solid answer on that. So that's kind of the background. And then the same person asked about Stages bikes. I personally love them. We have Stages at my studio. My previous studio, we had Schwinn. Those were awesome as well. A little bit more maintenance from what I've seen. My Stages bikes some of them are about 2 years old, and a couple of them are brand new because we added a few extra. And knock on wood, I have not had any major issues with them. Now, there might be some people in this group who disagree with that, and if that's the case, I'd be happy to hear. I'd love to hear, actually. Tell us in the comments. Always curious if there are certain malfunctions with different types of bikes, but we have the most basic Stages bike, and it's been great. I think it's SC1. But, okay, that being said, some Stages bikes, the meters, our power meters, are a pain in the ass. So make sure you do your research on that. Maybe talk to someone who has used those. I have heard that they break a lot, the buttons and the actual meters themselves, because we don't have them. So that's another benefit. The maintenance, not only the cost to get them, but the maintenance piece of it can be a pain. So we don't have them, so the bikes are great. Kaisers are also great bikes. Honestly, really, if you maintain your bikes, if you're getting them looked at least once a month, you're keeping them clean, most of the really nice bikes that I mentioned are going to be good for you. I think, again, it depends on what you're going to be doing with them and how your ride looks. But again, happy to talk through that with you once I get some more specifics about what kind of studio you have and what that looks like. So that was a lot of information. Hopefully that was helpful and you're able to make some of your decisions around that. If you have any more questions, or if anyone else has questions on what I said today, please feel free to leave comments. I'll come back and check. And obviously, Hoerner Happy Hour today, so it won't be one tomorrow, but I'm always looking for more questions. So if you guys have some, send them my way, and I'll keep a list, and we'll just keep going. I'll see you next week. All right. Bye, everybody.